Warning, I am rabid about homeownership for many, many reasons that you don't have the time to hear. But I am an immigrant born in the Dominican Republic. We came to Brooklyn, New York, and the first thing my mother said, we are not renting. We lived above a shop that was that made Venetian blinds. That's an old term for mini blinds, if you will. So now I'm starting to date myself. And so from time to time, we hear stick coming out from the roof because we're making too much noise. And her reason for owning a home was so that nobody could tell her kids what to do. So I started my career as a social service worker, actually, and then I couldn't stomach some of the things I seen, and then somehow by luck, I ended up in mortgage banking, and that's a long story too. And I've been in mortgage banking for over 40 years, from underwriting and processing all the way to mortgage, packaging loans for the secondary market, and ultimately retiring from Freddie Mac. A short time after retiring in Georgetown, a casual invitation, oh please, and they told me I gotta stick to the 3 minutes, so this is my teleprompter. A short time after retiring in Georgetown, a casual invitation led to a volunteer job at the front desk of Sussex County Habitat for Humanity. Generally speaking, I greet callers and visitors, among them prospective homeowners and current Habitat families. As a bonus, the job came with a mentor role to prospective Habitat homeowners. The crowning joy is this stage of my work life, yes, a community volunteer, and I get to see the faces of so many people and touch so many of them in such a different way that when I go to bed, I have a long list of people who I pray for, that they succeed in this journey to homeownership. I have so many touching human stories of people's journey to a house of their own, but little time to tell it all. In the spirit of the season, I'd like to share with you just two of my most gratifying moments as a Habitat person. By the way, once a Habitatter, always a Habitatter. My first is the person we all refer to as Mr. Steeman. Mr. Steeman is a proud Habitat homeowner. He has turned his Habitat experience into a mission. Mr. Steeman mentors many families, not just the 10 families that he's walked through the process all by himself, and these are people in his community. These families made it through our process because of him. The ones that didn't receive a yes, but not yet. We don't turn people down. What makes Mr. Steeman special is his patience, dedication to his community, and his willingness to give back. He touches me because, like him, I want that experience for many others to whom that first call to our office is their last hope. And I can tell you, again, many, many stories. He speaks 4 languages, and he translates and nurtures hope. He helps translate the process. He leads them to resources in the organization to overcome obstacles, real or perceived. He knows there are people in the organization who can help with things like building credit, budgeting, sweat equity, closing costs, to name a few. To me, he proves what's been said all along about the impact of homeownership to his community. I call it the Mr. Steeman effect. My second example builds on the same theme but a larger scale. Just a little ride from here, you'll find a historic neighborhood called Kimmingtown. And as was said, I am a Georgetown resident. And before I ran for office, people were telling me about how important Georgetown was and how its history is important. This is a historic town. Kimmingtown was where a lot of the people at the railroad made a living. And so over time, and as things changed, this neighborhood became a worn-down place, not because of neglect, but because people generally move on to the next best thing. Industries change, and in the process, we have to do. As a council person and community volunteer, I'm so proud for the Habitat family. This project speaks to greater together. Yes, we can. We can renovate, stabilize neighborhoods, and expand homeownership. Since Habitat came to Kimmingtown to build its 11 homes, you can see the difference it's making. We have people coming into Kimmingtown to take ownership of rundown housing so that others can rent or sell those homes. We have presently one of the realtors here, please raise your hand, who is responsible for that, Linda Vista, who has been helping individuals become homeowners, particularly people in the Latino community, people like me. I want to thank the Habitat family for embracing me, for making me a more tolerant person about the human beings that we help. Prior to coming to Habitat, my career was cobbling up data and figures about mortgages. This brings a face and a human touch to all I did for 40 years. I also want to thank some of the people that touched me in many ways, the people who are striving to make Georgetown a better place. I speak of Georgetown, but I'm talking about all of Sussex County, because as I sit there and take the calls every single day from people that want homeownership, people like you, people like many of the folks that we've forgotten, the veterans, the older folks who now don't have the wherewithal to keep those homes repaired. And please, let's not forget the children who suffer as a result of it. In my long-term career, I have seen lots of funky stuff. I came in at a point where women were barely getting the right to be able to obtain a mortgage. And then we went through so many of the other times that were hard times, and some that were good times. In the hard times, the money was hard to get out. In the good times, we spent so much time that still made it hard to get the money out because we were worried about funky names for our programs. I was just bending Russ Hustable's ear when I was coming in the door, talking about there is nothing new under the sun, folks. Let's just be creative. And if you're in a job where your creativity isn't put to test, then you need to be finding another job. Because we need creative people in the housing industry. And so I put that challenge out there to you. Again, they say there are no new ideas under the sun. If you want to do something, all you need is the will and desire. Under Habitat's leadership, 4 organizations came together to cause a new renaissance for our working people. Workers in the poultry industry, CNAs, paraprofessionals, people in construction, landscaping, and so on. I'm referring to Crisis House, I'm referring to Habitat for Humanity, and La Esperanza, and First State. And so people can do things if they have the will. You have to see what 11 new homes can cause in a community. New life, greater investment, and pride. Christmas is about believing it. I said earlier that in the spirit of this season, I was going to tell you about these 2 examples. One at one extreme and the other at the other extreme. One at the heart and soul of where people are living and struggling, and the other where you sit, where some of you may sit, and you're deciding every day somebody's future. So please think about that as to what your particular job, what your particular role in the community means to our county. Christmas is about believing. We need to believe that we have a heart, the know-how, the will, and the resources to make homeownership happen for so many people. People are inventing ways of finding a way to put a roof over their heads, and some of those ways are not healthy or safe. We need to get before the issues. We need to look at the possibilities. There have been many, many, many examples of good housing programs around the country. And so, again, there are no new ideas under the sun. You are here because you're a believer. Believe in the force of will and desire. Your continued support is a means to a miracle, because there is no other formula than the one that is currently at Habitat. We need to break barriers, and we can't do that without advocates, without employees, without volunteers, without an army of people, because as they say, it takes a village. Your continued support is a means to a miracle for many people. Would you believe with me? Yes, we can. Sí, se puede.